Memorial Day is a time to remember the people who died serving our country. And at the Warhawk Museum in Nampa, that's their whole purpose. They collect relics and memorabilia so we can continue looking at them. But for the last 20 years, they've also been working on collecting interesting stories. They're part of the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, and through it, the museum in Nampa is tasked with interviewing Idaho veterans and protecting their stories. Stories old as World War II and as recent as their Iraq War. The museum has 1,500 stories already recorded, but they're on DVDs. A grant is now making it possible, though, to digitize the files and keep those memories alive and more accessible. Andrew Bartline tells us about it.
To know history is to know how the past and present are connected. To know this year's leaves connect back to last decade's roots. At the Warhawk Museum, they know all about the roots. They know how it's all connected.
I have a real admiration for all those people who have gone before us, and they've just kept us free, and it's a wonderful country thanks to them.
Barry Hill volunteers because this is personal.
Yeah, I served in the Air Force for 5.5 years.
He serves the museum today by conserving the memories collected.
I'll be interviewing Claire Kilton for our Veterans History Project in partnership with the Library of Congress.
Initially, we tried to get as many World War II veterans as we could, and we're so happy we were able to get their stories before they passed away.
But preserving these stories on DVD?
Well, these have
that's the hard part.
A fixed life. They're not going to be here forever. They will deteriorate over time.
Barry and museum director Sue Paul couldn't let that happen, and they aren't.
To digitize the films.
They received a grant from the Canyon County Historical Society.
They gave us $24,000 for the first 500, and we have almost 1,500. So this is a beginning for us. It's an incredible beginning for us.
It's the beginning for a lot of people.
I've had families come up to me so emotional because they had never heard their grandfather or grandmother tell a story, and yet they could sit on film after they were gone and watch them tell it with smiling and laughing and talking about who they, their experiences or crying because of an experience. So the personal part of that for families is incredible.
The Veterans History Project is in partnership with the Library of Congress, putting these stories into public record to be saved forever.
Rod with a flag on it so that we had a reference to round out on. If you tried to round out on the thing, you'd always land high, and then it drops to the ground.
This guard is going to take you out and shoot you if you don't talk to me. And he asked me another question, and about that I got to thinking, I'm a PFC, I don't know anything, why would they shoot me?
There were still parachutes in the trees, and there were broken gliders, and there were even several hundred Germans on the beaches, but they weren't shooting at us, they were loading our supplies.
These are definitely veterans who never talked about it.
Stories that individually might just look like another leaf on the tree. But here, it matters more, traced back to the root.
And we've taken them up through all kinds of conflicts, all the way up to the most current situations around the world.
So those interviews, as Andrew mentioned, are in the process of being digitized, and there is a nice collection up right now online, and maybe a good time for a history lesson with the family. You can head on over to the Warhawk Museum website, scroll over to the Explore tab, and then you'll see there, click on the Veterans History Project. You can see veteran interviews organized by the conflict that soldiers were involved in, a free collection that will continue to grow. Just pick a video and watch it, and you can just see here live on the website so many great stories to share, all of them recorded out in Nampa. And our team has gone through the clips, and it really is amazing perspective and stories that are full of color and insight. And movies and history shows are awesome, but hearing veterans from a variety of wars describe their personal experience, it's very valuable. And the context and the story is telling from a variety of angles that you might not get through a movie.